These are 30 forgotten, down-home Southern dishes that slipped off the family table, and they show how the South itself has changed. This video walks through where those dishes came from, why they faded, and how a few are quietly coming back. If you grew up with a Southern grandma, or you just love food history and nostalgia, this is made for you, because every dish in this list carries memory as much as flavor. Part 1. What down-home Southern really means. Southern cooking grows out of indigenous foodways, West and Central African traditions brought through slavery, and European settler staples like wheatbreads, gravvies, and pies. Those streams blended into the everyday food Southerners now call down-home, simple ingredients turned into filling meals through time, patience, and skill. Convenience culture, restaurant spending rising to 55.7% of food dollars by 2023, and shifting generational tastes slowly pushed many older dishes aside. Some survived only in memory or old community cookbooks. That is the list you are about to see now. Part 2. Vanishing breads, biscuits, and breakfast meats. 1. Beaten biscuits. Beaten biscuits show exactly how labor and time can erase a food from everyday life. These biscuits don't rely on baking powder or yeast. Cooks take an unleavened dough and beat or hammer it more than 100 times to work air into it. The result is crisp and flaky, lasting for days, and once served as the base for country ham biscuits at holidays. John Egerton wrote that beaten biscuits have all but disappeared, and modern bakers say frozen biscuits and mixes replace the old method. 2. Corn dodgers. Corn dodgers belong to practical, heavy-work food culture. Dumplings or fritters made from cornmeal, and seasonings were either boiled in broth or fried in bacon grease. Writers say fried corn dodgers were a favorite of Abraham Lincoln during his working years. Over time, cornbread and hush puppies pushed them aside, and boiled dodgers are now described as less common. 3. Red-eye gravy. Red-eye gravy comes from country ham drippings deglazed with black coffee. It's thin, salty, and served over biscuits or grits. Writers call it an old-school classic that deserves a revival, which means it already slipped out of regular rotation. Chain breakfast restaurants rarely serve it now. 4. Liver mush. A North Carolina staple made from pork liver, spices, and cornmeal, sliced and pan-fried for breakfast. Southern Living notes only 5 commercial producers remain, all in North Carolina. The audience is now split between people who grew up eating it and newcomers who try it once out of curiosity. 5. Liver pudding. Similar to liver mush, but with less cornmeal, giving it a softer texture. It grew out of the same Milltown cooking culture and shares the same decline among younger Southerners. 6. Sorghum syrup on biscuits. Sorghum, with African roots, reached the South in the 1800s. Boiling the stalks produced a thick syrup used on biscuits and cereals. Writers describe it as a sweetener found mostly in the kitchens of old-school Southern cooks, signaling its shift from everyday staple to heritage ingredient. 7. Cornbread dressing. Cornbread dressing combines crumbled cornbread with onions, celery, broth, eggs, and herbs. Families treat recipes as identity, yet many now only prepare it for holidays. Boxed stuffing mixes and busy schedules replaced scratch-made dressing for most of the year. With 55.7% of food dollars going to restaurants in 2023, fewer people cook it outside November and December. 8. Country ham biscuits, traditional style. These originally used hand-beaten biscuits stuffed with salty country ham. As beaten biscuits faded, this specific style of ham biscuit faded with them. Part 3. Fading mains, sides, and snack foods. 9. Country Captain A, curried chicken dish with tomatoes, curry powder, currants, and almonds, usually served over rice. Historians trace it to 1800s trade routes between India and the American South, and a popular rumor ties it to Franklin D. Roosevelt. Writers say it never fully vanished, but lost popularity, with some chefs reviving it. 10. Hoppin' John rice, black-eyed peas, and pork cooked together. Families serve it on New Year's Day for luck, sometimes with a hidden coin in the pot. Once a weekday staple, it shifted into a once-a-year ritual. 11. New Year's Hoppin' John with the hidden coin. Same dish, but the hidden coin tradition acts like a separate version. Whoever finds the coin is promised good fortune. That superstition keeps the dish alive for families who never make it the rest of the year. 12. Pimento cheese. A spread of cheddar, mayonnaise, cream cheese, and pimentos. It once appeared at nearly every gathering. Writers now say it's not nearly as ubiquitous, and younger people encounter it less often, though die-hard fans keep it alive. 13. Boiled peanuts. Green peanuts boiled until soft. Roadside stands in Georgia, Alabama, and the Carolinas keep them alive. But writers note they are not seen enough these days, especially outside those states. Part 4. Strange salads, pantry sandwiches, and gelatin dishes. 14. Peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwiches, a Great Depression food documented by Southern Living. Peanut butter provided protein, mayonnaise added fat, and white bread offered cheap calories. Today it's a viral shock topic, but older Southerners defend it as normal. 15. Peanut butter, banana, and mayo sandwiches. Bananas added sweetness and bulk to the Depression-era sandwich. Many adults recall it as a childhood staple. 16. Southern pear salad. Built from a lettuce leaf, a canned pear half, a spoon of mayonnaise, shredded cheddar, and a maraschino cherry. An 1899 salad book documented early versions. Southern Living's modern pear salad recipe became its most shared recipe of 2024, with about 95,000 shares and more than 7,500 comments. 17. Ambrosia. A dessert salad of canned pineapple, mandarin oranges, cherries, Cool Whip, coconut, and marshmallows. Once common at church socials, now mostly nostalgic. 18. Tomato aspic tomato juice or soup mixed with gelatin, often holding celery or olives. Southern Living notes its popularity in 1950s luncheons. Now rare on tables, though some food writers argue for its return. 19. Other congealed salads, gelatin-based dishes using canned fruits or vegetables. Once widespread in mid-century cookbooks, now grouped with foods no one eats anymore. Part 5. Older pies, cakes, preserves, and sweet savory throwbacks. 20. Chess pie made from sugar, butter, eggs, evaporated milk, and an acidic touch like vinegar or buttermilk. A classic cupboard pie considered old-fashioned today as richer desserts overshadow it. 21. Vinegar pie. A tangy custard pie using vinegar instead of fruit. Tied to 18th and 19th century hardship cooking, a version appeared in Gourmet magazine in 1963. 22. Water pie. A Great Depression dessert using water, sugar, butter, and flour to mimic custard. It resurfaces in discussions about economic anxiety. 23. Mock apple pie. A fruitless pie made with crackers and spiced syrup. Another example of resourceful Depression-era cooking. 24. Lane cake, a white layer cake filled with bourbon-spiked custard containing pecans, raisins, and coconut. Published by Emma Relander Lane in 1898. Featured in To Kill a Mockingbird. Writers say it's becoming less and less common because of the work involved. 25. Tomato pudding, a sweet tomato casserole using bread or biscuits, sugar, and seasonings. Seen as a forgotten 1800s Southern dish. 26. Pickled watermelon rind, a thrifty preserve with a documented North Carolina recipe from 1859. Called a heritage food, many Southerners have never tasted. 27. Pickled peaches. Peaches preserved in vinegar, sugar, cinnamon, and cloves. Traditionally served with ham. Now mostly nostalgic. 28. Benny wafers, crisp sesame cookies tied to the Low Country. Benny seeds came from West Africa with enslaved Africans. Still little known outside Charleston. 29. The Desperation Pie family. Chess, vinegar, water, and mock apple pies all used cheap, shelf-stable ingredients during the Great Depression and World War II. They reflect how families kept dessert on the table with almost nothing. 30. Sorghum breakfast and baking. Sorghum syrup sweetened hot cereals and baked goods, not just biscuits. Writers say it survives mostly in the kitchens of old-school Southern cooks. Part 6. Why these dishes disappeared. Convenience and time pushed labor-intensive recipes out of regular cooking. Beating biscuit dough more than 100 times or assembling lane cake simply doesn't fit modern schedules. Restaurant spending reached 55.7% of food dollars in 2023. leaving less home cooking overall. Industrial food changed taste twice. Canned goods fueled gelatin dishes and fruit salads in the mid-1900s, and later frozen biscuits, boxed mixes, and pre-made desserts replaced scratch-made traditions. Health narratives also shifted habits. The South reports a 34.7% adult obesity rate, influencing how people view older dishes heavy in fat, sugar, or processed meats. Generational memory acts as the final filter. Younger Southerners who never grew up with vinegar pie, tomato aspic, or peanut butter and mayo sandwiches often encounter them online, where they appear as cursed recipes. That reaction shapes whether the dishes return or stay gone. Part 7. Why some dishes are coming back. Revival movements have already begun. Media outlets publish retro recipes for tomato aspic, vinegar pie, water pie, and ambrosia. Heritage chefs reintroduce country captain, Benny wafers, and sorghum glazes. Nostalgia resurges during uncertain economic times, and Southern Living's pear salad, its most shared recipe of 2024 with about 95,000 shares and over 7,500 comments, prove these foods can still spark huge interest. Local festivals preserve niche foods like liver mush, while scholars highlight indigenous, African, and European influences on the Southern table. These dishes become entry points into the deeper story of who shaped the cuisine. Taken together, all 30 dishes form a map of Southern history. Desperation pies and pantry sandwiches show how people survived hard times. Lane cake, tomato pudding, pickled peaches, and tomato aspic trace holiday traditions and mid-century cooking. Benny wafers and Hop and John connect to West and Central African and indigenous knowledge. Beaten biscuits and country captain reflect labor, trade, and identity. Some dishes will stay in the past. Some will hang on through ritual alone. A few may return in new forms. What matters most is keeping their stories alive, because each dish carries a piece of the Southern experience. When we talk about forgotten down-home dishes, we keep that history from fading, and we bring back the flavors tied to generations of family tables.